Yo, welcome back to the channel, boys and girls. Now, before we get started on today's video, I just want to say that for some reason, the real-time rankings during the group ride was broken on Zwift. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it was an overload on the server, but I actually finished on ZwiftPower 290 out of 898. So before you guys start going down to the comments saying, hey, why are you almost in last place, blah, 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 that's the reason why. And I'm going to bring this up again during the video. And also too, let's just be real. A lot of us treat these Zwift group rides as races. I'm using my air quotes here. So let's not even act like we're just out here joyriding. Everybody that I know wants to try to finish as high up on the ranking as possible doing these group rides. So anyway, let's get started on today's video. So we have highlights from stage 8 of Tour de Zwift, which are the urban routes. For the Group A longer ride, it's 5 laps around London's Classique route, which takes a tour of England's capital, including Trafalgar Square, Constitution Hill, Buckingham Palace, and other destinations as well. And since this is a final stage, you do get to unlock the full Tour de Zwift 2021 kit upon completion of all 8 stages. Now, about London's Classique route. Each lap is 5.4 kilometers or 3.4 miles, but dog, the lead-in is so long. In fact, the lead-in is longer than the actual laps at 5.7 kilometers. So don't go burning all your matches before the first lap starts. During the end of each lap, there is a quick false flat, and then the lap concludes with a sprinting point. Now, because the overall course is so flat and so short, the ride is basically like 45 minutes at full throttle. There was no point during the whole entire race that the group ever settled down. And like I said before, because the real-time ranking during the ride was messed up on Zwift for whatever reason, I didn't know what place I was at all. So I didn't want to go out there attacking for no reason. So essentially what I did was I just sat in and treated the group ride or the race basically like a time trial race. Some quick stats about myself. So I am 74 kilograms. My current FTP is 3.5 watts per kilos. I'm trying to get to 4 watts by the end of the summer. It's gonna be a grind, but I think I can do it. Okay, so this is the false flat section of the lap. And if you time it correctly, assuming you have a feather, you can move up really quickly here as long as you time it right. And even if you don't have any power-ups, it is a really good place to do a little bit of attack just to move up, because a lot of people were either getting gapped here, and so you can easily move up, say 50 places if you time your attack correctly. All right, so this is the sprint section I was talking about. I didn't want to go super hard. I think I ended up putting out a max of like 678 watts, but it was nothing crazy. But for the first couple of times of each lap, I figured I would do a little bit of a little quick sprint. And this is the first time my legs felt really, really good. Normally in these races, because there's so much of a hard effort, I rarely try to attack, and I usually only save my sprints for the final lap. Apparently, Fabian Cancellara was in our group ride today, which I didn't know. He probably was way at the front, but there were a few people chiming in saying that he was somewhere, I want to say somewhere towards the front. But that is pretty cool to see some of these Pro Tour riders, hanging out and, doing some of these group rides with us regular plebeians. All right, so this is the final lap. My plan was, with about a half a mile left, was to basically try and hold 275 to 300 watts all the way to the finish. And like I said, yet again, I didn't know my ranking, so I didn't know whether or not I was going to attack, but I figured it wouldn't be a good idea. So I was just going to focus on the steady effort and just try to keep it up all the way to the finish. A couple of things I just want to point out that I've noticed within these last couple of months of indoor training is, as you can see, my cadence has gone down a lot. It used to be, when I first started training indoors, my average cadence was normally around like 95 to 100. And I think for this particular ride, my average cadence was about 75 RPM. So I definitely do believe in spinning to win still, especially when you're sprinting. But, at the end of the day, it really is about riding at your preferred cadence. And so in my case, my preferred cadence now is anywhere between 75 to 80 RPM, especially when I'm at threshold, which is, about 260 to 275 watts. Another thing I've noticed too is my heart rate or just my heart in general, has gotten a lot more efficient, especially during these Zwift races or group rides. I remember when I did my first crit race ever on Zwift, it was only 17 minutes long, and having to put out 250 watts during those 17 minutes basically gave me a heart attack, and I was just sweating to death. But now I can, easily put out 250 to 260 watts for a solid 50 minutes without my heart ever being anywhere close to redline. I want to say it's probably like 183, and I'm normally at 170 now for an hour. So this is the final sprint. Like I said, I didn't do anything super crazy because I didn't know my ranking. And then in the end, I ended up with a time of 45 minutes and 33 seconds. And I averaged for that time 251 watts, which is pretty good if you ask me. All right, guys. And the last thing I wanted to show you was my actual ZwiftPower profile. As you guys can see up here, as you can see it, and this is actually as of this morning, but I actually been upgraded to the minimum race category of B races now. So I can no longer do C races. So it'll be interesting how my ego and self-esteem gets bruised as I get dropped in these B races, but it'll be fun. And like they say, if you want to get faster, you have to compete with people that are faster than you. So I just wanted to show you guys that in the end for this particular Tour de Zwift Stage 8 group ride, that I placed 292. And here are just some of the stats you can see right here. It's crazy, just how much my fitness has improved just in the last couple of months. Being able to hold at threshold for 45 minutes is pretty good. Like I said before, in my first race ever down here, that was only 17 minutes, but my power has gone up, and to be able to hold that power for a longer time is awesome. So that about wraps it up for this video, guys. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them down below, and I will check you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.